Hello and welcome to Talking Good Games match preview of West Ham United against Liverpool. Jürgen Klopp's favourite kick-off time of 12:30 on Saturday. Gonzo, can you kick us off with your thoughts, please, on Liverpool?
Yeah, I'll kick us off early, like we got on Saturday, my friend. What can you say? Well, that's backfired, doesn't it? Let's be fair. Klopp's announcement has backfired. It looked to be a galvanising factor earlier on in the season. He announced it, and not only did it not seem to hinder the club at all, I think they almost felt like they got an uplift in performance. There was a real point where you thought that they're just gonna party their way in a sort of long farewell all the way to a treble or something. That's the way it felt. No Trent Alexander-Arnold, no problem. No Mo Salah, no problem. Honestly, they were like a juggernaut, and you just thought, wow, okay, maybe they are being swept towards all the trophies on the crest of a red Anfield wave. And honestly, that's what I thought was going on there. I really did. And I was quite impressed by it, actually, truth be known, because the first time, there's a little bit of a fallacy with the Sir Alex Ferguson stuff. It was the first time he announced it, they dropped off. And he said, oh, no, actually, no, I'm not going to leave. But he did actually do it a second time as well. I mean, because he announced to everybody he was leaving, and they announced David Moyes as his successor before the season had even ended, and actually they went on to win the title that season, which makes it all the more impressive now. I'm sure they will regret the decision to announce it. As I understand it, him and the board had made that decision some months before. So they'd managed to keep it secret up to then. So why couldn't they have kept it secret for a little while longer? Maybe there was a suspicion the secret might have got out. Whatever happened, it has been an absolute mess. I think that framed, let's put it that way, framed by the Atalanta performance and result in the first leg there. And they just look like capitulated. It looks like they've capitulated, and obviously everybody would have seen the Merseyside derby as well, where it was barely contested. The best team, very, very much. I know they had more shots, but the team with the most fight and grit and passion and desire to win. Basically, it looked like there was one team who knew it was a Liverpool derby, a Merseyside derby, and there was one team that didn't, and that was the blue team that won it, and I thought deservedly so.
Yeah, a bit of a strange one, really, because when they announced it, I think they were maybe forced to, because obviously things were happening in the background. Michael Edwards returning, Schmatke was leaving in January. So I think they were possibly trying to just provide clarity to Liverpool fans of saying, well, this is why we're not going to be too busy in January transfer window, because things are changing. A lot of things are going to be changing. Jürgen Klopp obviously felt required to update the Liverpool fans. And from a transparency point of view, I think I kind of admire it, because we're the opposite at the minute, where we don't have any transparency regarding our manager. And I think it would be easier for us if we knew what was happening. So I get why they announced it. Has it derailed the season? I'm not so sure, because like you said, from that announcement for the next few weeks and months even, they looked really good. And all season I've thought they would go on and win the title up until the last week or so. I tried to catch a bit of the Fulham game, but A, overlapped with our game, and then B, there's a potential of Coventry knocking Man United out in the FA Cup semi-final. So I was a little bit swayed over there. But the bits I did catch, it seemed a bit flat. Although they won the game, it didn't really feel there was much tempo there from Liverpool. And it was almost like a professional, we got the job done kind of thing. But then against Everton, you were just watching a team with, like you said, little fight. They got bullied by Everton, but also little idea, really, and little touches of class, as in there wasn't enough of it.
Yep.
Nunez all season's been a bit like Jackson to some extent, a bit of a meme of a striker of this huge talent, but also incredible amount of misses and whatnot. And I think you saw that against in part, whereas I think Luis Diaz was the only one really doing anything. Mo Salah, you said no Salah, no problem. Actually, on Wednesday it was Salah and problem, because he was in the team. And it's just like, where's this guy gone? It was just a team of lacking any sort of authority. And sometimes when you play clubs like this, they just find a way of winning. They're just too good. But there's none of that about Liverpool on Wednesday night. And it must be very disappointing for those fans, because they thought it was possibly going to be, and I, as a neutral, thought possibly it's going to be a really good farewell for Jurgen, winning the Europa League, potentially winning the Premier League. Well, actually, they're going away empty-handed now.
Yeah.
Well, they won the Carabao Cup, but post Carabao Cup, they haven't won anything. Do you think they're at the title race now with 4 games to go?
I do. They have no momentum. They don't seem to have any belief. They seem to be only going in one direction. I think they've lost that supercharge, that turbo that they had that seemed to be propelling them. I really believe that. I thought it was really evident watching the Merseyside derby. You sort of wondered if the first Atalanta result was an anomaly. The fact that they couldn't claw it back. I mean, it's funny actually because so that was the first leg, Atalanta, and ours against Leverkusen, we lost 2-0. And I looked at ours and I thought it was more likely Liverpool, because Liverpool are Liverpool and the way they are, it was more likely they could win 4-3 than us winning 3-2. You know, if anyone could do that, and yes, I think the second leg was at Anfield as well. If anyone can do,
the other way around.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
3-0 at Anfield.
Of course they did. That's right. Yeah, of course. But nonetheless, I think if it's far worse, isn't it? If anything, if any club can do that, you know what they're like. They're swashbuckling and they pile forward and they've got practically no defenders at times and they play that what do they call it? Heavy metal football. I thought if anyone could do it, but nothing. There was not. You could barely register in a pulse at the moment as a football club, actually, and I think that's. I mean, I think they're unrecognisable actually from. I'm not even saying at their best. I'm talking even this season that they honestly you could almost cut it with a knife where and separate it from it. No, I think they have nothing about them at all. And I think if anyone could possibly galvanise them and possibly lift them, with a rousing team talk. I know he's not the most popular bloke in the world, but I'm quite sure he gives a bloody good team talk, Jürgen Klopp. I think he's possibly ain't got that in the locker anymore. I think he's probably already tried that. I think they're spent. I think they're wasted. I don't think they've got any chance of winning the league at all.
I think they've got a small one, and it is a small one now. Arsenal have got. You always feel like Arsenal have got a slip up in them, don't you? And I know
I hope so.
They're only 3 points ahead, but they do have that sort of, as we called it when we were in a relegation battle, we almost had the invisible point because our goal difference was significantly superior to those around us. Arsenal have that over Liverpool. So while it's only 3 points, it's kind of 4 points because of that goal difference that they've got to make up. So, I don't see, I'm not convinced Arsenal will win every single fixture left. And I say the same for Man City, but will they slip up enough for Liverpool to capitalise? I'm not too sure. But also that relies on Liverpool winning the remaining 4 games at a canter as well, probably. I'm not sure I can see Liverpool doing that as well. It's a strange thing about the Premier League this season that I think all 3 teams in the title race, although there's only 4 games to go, you can see them all slipping up at least once. And there's a few twists and turns to go. So I don't think they're out of it just yet. But they do certainly look like the least of the favourites out of the 3 to go on and lift the title. In regards to the successor to Jurgen Klopp, then a lot of talk about that this week, Gonzo, beginning with Ruben Amorim and then finishing up with Arne Slot. And so much so that apparently, the clubs are in negotiations and they're ready to make him the guy. And it feels like he is the one that's possibly going to be the successor at Anfield. Good appointment?
Yeah, look, at the moment they couldn't get Alonso. I think he had to be a contender. We know about him because we've been linked with him for at least the past 12 months. So, be a name that's familiar to West Ham fans. I think there was certainly an element of him capitalising on Ajax's downfall because Ajax, were in the situation that actually resulted in our head coach Heitinger taking over the reins on a part-time basis to try and see them through. But, he as I understand it, he broke some Eredivisie records last season as well. So you're looking at a good manager. He can do stuff on budget, bring young players through. So this is all the stuff that's going to appeal to Liverpool because Liverpool don't. I say that I was just about to say don't have the budget that other clubs have. I wouldn't mind betting that with these financial fair play regulations, which I'm sure they were really keen to get done, they've probably. they probably, rather than them going up and spending more, they're probably managing to drag everybody else down and stop everyone spending as much, which is probably going to give it a little bit of a quality. It's not dissimilar to what David Moyes did, actually. Rather than David Moyes adjust to the fact that there were more substitutes and big squads now, he wanted everybody to legislate so we could go back to having less players in the squad and less substitutes. So yeah, it's the unambitious way of gaining parity with everybody else, isn't it? But yeah, but I think in terms of Arne Slot, I think this is going to really appeal to them. And I suspect it'll be a really good fit. There's still that back of my mind. I'm still never fully convinced with Dutch managers because they do have a tendency to self-destruct. But he looks like a good guy. And I'm maybe a little bit jealous as well because I would have liked him. I can't be that robust in my opinions of Dutch managers because I would have taken him at West Ham. So yeah, I think it's a good appointment.
He's one of those managers that I would have been content with him at West Ham. I would have been happy with him at West Ham without knowing too much about him, if that makes sense. I'm not going to sit here and claim I've watched his team play more than 5 games or anything like that. But going by what you read and what you're hearing of people that you trust their opinion regarding football and stuff, you can form an opinion off the back of that. And he certainly would have been one that I would have minded at West Ham, would have been higher at the top, towards the top of the list rather than the bottom one. Certainly above Julian Lopetegui, just to make that, just to reinforce that one. But I think it's a bit of a risk. I say a risk on Liverpool. Anyone's a risk, but it feels like Xabi Alonso was the only manager that wouldn't have carried a risk going to Anfield. It feels like every other manager is going to have that question mark, and can you be the guy that replaces Jürgen Klopp? Huge job to do. They've still got contract situations with the likes of Van Dijk and Trent, and then you've got Salah, who is possibly likely to leave this summer because he's only got 12 months on his contract. That might give Liverpool a little bit of spending power in the summer as well. But it certainly feels like they're going back to the way they did transfer business at the beginning and middle of Jurgen Klopp's reign, where it was a little bit more transfer committee and data-led, and at the end of it, it felt like Klopp had more of a say in it than he perhaps did at the start of his time at Anfield, and then maybe going back to the way it was before he increased his sort of influence in the boardroom at Liverpool. So be interesting to see how he gets on. It'd be interesting to see how anybody gets on post Jurgen Klopp. Huge shoes to fill. And right then, Gonzo, players you admire from Liverpool, please.
I think I'd probably say, I think, it's easy to look at them and all the rest of it, and there's some big names there, but I can't help but thinking they've missed Firmino. Not the teeth one, him, not the midfielder. I think they've missed him. I do. In terms of this season, Bradley's obviously come through. I think you're looking at stories like that. Elliott's sort of come through a little bit, but I mean, Bradley's sort of been sensational. I feel at times, particularly earlier on in the season, Van Dijk got back to the levels that he might have been at before. I still think they're really. I think it's a slight hangover in the midfield for not getting Jude Bellingham, but Szoboszlai certainly has had his moments in there. I don't know what happened with Thiago. I sort of never heard of him anymore. I think he's probably injured or something like that. But I really liked him as a footballer and probably quite integral to them playing well. But there's too many players who are not playing near their best, like Salah, like Darwin Núñez, for instance. He's nowhere near his best, but he's still effective, but just not in terms of goal scoring. I think if you're going to talk about players, this story disappeared off the radar pretty damn quickly, and it was Diaz and his parents getting kidnapped, and we often talk about mental strength and mental fortitude. That man must have incredible mental strength to have his parents kidnapped to carry on playing. I just think it's incredible. I mean, like armed people kidnapping your parents and demanding ransoms and the rest of it, and he carried on playing football, and thankfully he's got his parents back now. And yet still, it is, as you said, he seemed to be the one driving the team forward against Everton. Or this is the man with the weight of the world on his shoulders. This is an amazing character. You get people like that and characters into your club. I think it's something incredible. I have nothing but the utmost admiration for him. How strong must that guy be? So yeah, I would. I mean, never mind Liverpool. After seeing what he did, he's turned into one of my favourite footballers in the world. Simple as that.
I think it might have just been his dad that kidnapped. No, that makes a significant change to the story. But before somebody,
what's wrong with his mum then?
Before somebody sort of corrects Gonzo, it might have just been his father they kidnapped and then released after the leaders of the gang said, "Hang on a minute, what are you doing? Release him. You're not allowed to kidnap him." But I agree. I think Diaz has been fantastic. I think Robertson's another one that's just not been at the level he's had a significant injury, but the two that. Well, I still think Alisson's the best keeper in the league, but I think Alexis McAllister's been sensational this season. When he first went there, it felt like he wasn't really playing in the right position, and it was understandable because Liverpool had a complete new midfield. Out went Fabinho, Henderson, Naby Keita, Ronaldo the season before that. They all left. All the midfielders left, and then in came Gavin Burke, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Endo. So it's a new look midfield for Liverpool, and I think McAllister found his feet eventually, but I think he's just been watching him play. What a talent! The way he spots the pass, the way he delivers the pass as well. And even though they were crap against Everton, some of the passes that he and Trent Alexander-Arnold were doing were just unbelievable. It must be an attacker's dream to play with those two players behind you. And they were delivering the passes. Diaz, Nunez, Salah, they all had opportunities to score and good opportunities. They just couldn't put them away. It wasn't the creators' fault. It was their fault. And I just think McAllister is one of the best midfielders in the league for me this season. And I continue my fanboy over sort of Curtis Jones a few seasons ago. He's somebody I would have liked at West Ham. He was never going to break into Liverpool team. He's broke into that team now. And I think they do miss him when he doesn't play. I think when he's not in that team, I think they're sometimes missing that type of player with that type of drive. It can hit it from distance as well. I like Kirsten, not in this sort of midfield role that he played against Everton, where he's got Szoboszlai, McAllister next to him. I don't like him in there, but when he's one of the ones in front of Endo, I think he's almost like the complete centre midfielder, really, and he's not world class or anything, but it continues to impress me and get better every time I see him. And last player I'm going to mention is Jota. I do think if he was fit all season, I think Liverpool do win the league. I think the significant difference between themselves. Well, I say that. No, not really. Haaland has scored goals, but it doesn't feel like he's been playing very well, although he's still at the top. And then Arsenal don't have a number 9, so it's not really the difference between them. But you do wonder if they had someone like a Watkins or an Isak, would they have gone on and win the title? But I think Jota is one of the better finishers in the Premier League. He's just never available. When he is, it feels like he's available for a handful of games. Then he's out injured again. But I do think the composure and the talent of Jota is needed when Liverpool struggle to break teams down a little bit. I think he's the one player that can actually unlock a defence from a really small space. I think Nunez is better over long distances where you can play it in behind, he can use his pace, whereas Jota in around the 18-yarder, I think, is just on a different level to some of the other Liverpool attackers. But anyway, enough about Liverpool. Gonzo, would you like some West Ham team news?
Well, I would like some team news, but before you discuss this juicy team news and let these Liverpool people tremble with fear of what world-class players they're going to have to face at the weekend, can I please just point everybody in the direction of our Patreon page? I say page, it's not really a page. It's basically our third Hammers Chat channel. And the reason for going over there, they are numerous. You might go over there just purely because you want to support Hammers Chat in what we do, which is upload every day on 2 separate channels. You might want to get over there to get involved in some of our competitions. We're giving away signed shirts. We give away loads and loads of stuff all the time, tickets to games, that sort of thing. You might want to go over there because you get a discount to our online store. Healthy discounts as well. Or primarily, you might want to go over there for the additional content which we got, and that is numerous. Only yesterday, I sat down, I had a chat with Mark Ward. We had a little impromptu live session. Not me and Mark Ward, by the way. I don't want to imply things that didn't happen there. Me and the lovely patrons. We had a lovely live video. Geo sat down. He did a podcast with Anton Ferdinand as well. We got Analytics, which we get. Well, listen, we might be nincompoops, myself and Geo. We got some proper analytics experts who go and assess West Ham games, and because we're clever, we called it Hammerlytics. That's not bad at all. We got opposition previews where Geo knows everything.
Poached. Hammerlytics have been poached. They now write for the West Ham programme.
They poached them. Absolutely. And West Ham poached Anton Ferdinand off of us as well and used him for their YouTube channel. Let me just say that as well. So touche there, by the way. We have got our breakfast show, which is always good. It doesn't always feature breakfast. Player ratings, which is a big deal. We can get feisty on the player ratings. Mean and generous. Both things feature in that. And something that you mad lot seem to really enjoy, which is our naked podcast where we're fully clothed and we discuss things other than West Ham. We think is excellent value. The link's in the description below is patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Go and check it out. We've got a free 7-day trial. If you don't like it, you have to unsubscribe afterwards. But go and check that out. It's our Patreon channel. We'd really appreciate your support.
Thanks to anyone that does join up. Right, for some West Ham team news, it's pretty straightforward today, actually. Jared Bowen and Konstantinos Mavropanos both failed a late fitness test ahead of the game on Sunday against Crystal Palace, so both are expected to be fine for this one against Liverpool. Areola and Callum Phillips both made a return to the bench at Selhurst Park, so they are also available for selection from David Moyes. That leaves just one player that's potentially absent for the Hammers, and that is Nefa Gerd. He was injured. He picked up an injury against Bayer Leverkusen and missed the game against Crystal Palace, so he's a doubt ahead this one. But for the interests of the preview, Gonzo, everybody is available because I'm intrigued as to what you would do at centre-back if a Gerd was available too, if that makes sense. So you can take your pick from any player. George Earthy also is now post the concussion protocol, so he's also available for selection as well, should he be injury-free and able to play. But in terms of the legislation around the protocols, he is able to return to training and be selected for this game on Saturday afternoon. So with all that said and done, Gonzo, can you tell me who you'd like to see in goal, as well as the players you'd like to see in defence?
I'll put Areola in goal. The less shell-shocked, recently less shell-shocked. They both had numerous thumpings this season. Well, Liverpool themselves administered one of our thumpings. Well, that was Fabianski in goal for that 5-1, wasn't it? But Areola in goal for this one, mate. And well, sorry, go on. You tell me your goalkeeper before I get to my.
Yeah, Areola as well. I think Fabianski's done really well, but he was a bit crap against Crystal Palace. We've seen Fabianski at the first goal, and I think there needs to be a bit of repercussion from that display at Selhurst Park. And I think Areola's gloves weren't there to be got. He was only not playing because he was injured. Well, he's back now. Time to put a number one back and go.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. I would play Ben Johnson at right back, because I'm changing it up a bit, and I thought he did perfectly fine when he came as a substitute against Palace. Weren't too many people did perfectly fine. I would have Mavropanos back, and yes, to answer your question, I would play a Gerd as well. That would be my centre back partnership. They're going to be very mobile. Look, Nunez is a big old lump. He absolutely is, but he's also very fast, and the rest of them are fast as well. So I'd like to put that in there. And also, we still retain a really good threat from set pieces with the Gerd in the team who is good. So and I'd play Emerson at left back.
Yeah, I completely agree with that team. Actually, I would play the exact same personnel. I think Val deserves to be dropped. A few poor performances on his part now, and Diaz is possibly one of the trickier players he could come up against on that side, and I do worry a bit. Whereas Johnson's shown nothing but enthusiasm when he's come on. I know it sounds a bit of a rubbish thing. Oh, well done, you're in the team because you're enthusiastic. But in all seriousness, I saw very little of it from the team on Sunday. That anybody that did display some of it, I was happy with. But I agree with Mavropanos and Gerd, and Emerson sort of picks himself at left back. Moving on into midfield, then, what would you like to see?
Well, the two in front of the back four, if you want. I'm just going to go with a plain old Alvarez and Souček in there. I haven't seen. To be fair, again, we saw a little glimmer from Phillips when he came on, but I've not got enough evidence. I know more what I'm dealing with Ben Johnson and Nefa Gerd. A little successful pass and a couple of tackles is not quite going to do it for me. But I'm that cross with so many of them. He almost made it into my team, believe it or not. So I've got no worries about Souček and Alvarez for this game. I do believe in this game they will be at full pelt and and playing well basically.
Yeah, the results this week have somewhat swayed me. On Monday morning, I was thinking, right, 3 or 4 youngsters are playing on Saturday, and for the remaining games this season, and Lewis Orford was at the top of my list. I thought, let's get Orford in because we've got nothing to play for now. We're out of the chances of European football. So what's the point? What's the point of playing the same 11 that's played all season, who are knackered, they're absolutely rinsed? Well, let's get some fresh legs, get some youngsters in the team.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much the last one away to Man City. I think that might be a big ask, given that they might win the title and whatever. But certainly the 2 home games and the game against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, bring it on. But as the week's gone on, and we've seen Chelsea get a hammer in, and we've seen Newcastle lose against Crystal Palace, and I don't think we're going to get European football. Let me make that clear. However, mathematically, it remains possible. And the last thing I want is to get to the end of the season and realise that had we actually achieved 2 more points in the remaining 4 games, we would have got European football. So I think we have to assume, West Ham have to assume other teams are going to slip up.
Yeah.
Because they play each other. Newcastle play Man United, for example. So there's a lot, and we still play Chelsea. Do I think we'll get 7? No, I do not. Let me make that clear. But what we have to do is give ourselves every chance of getting 7. So for that reason, I've also got Alvarez and Thomas Souček in midfield. And your front 4, please.
So my front 3 are my front 3 are Kudus, Jarrod Bowen, and Mikel Antonio.
So where's the other guy?
Behind the front 3. I'm going to call it a number 10 role.
Okay, well, what's your number 10 role? Who's
George Earthy.
So you got Kudus on the left, Bowen on the right, and
and Antonio up front. And yes, Paqueta actually is dropped. It needs to be punished. I can't have that. I can't have that performance. I won't have that. It needs to go on the bench, and it'll be used off the bench. He really does. If he wasn't being punished, I'd actually play him next to Alvarez in central midfield and probably still play Earthy. Right, but he's being punished. He's on the naughty step. Not right up the top of the stairs. He's 3rd step up. So he can get off the step if he behaves himself. But I need to see a bit more. You can't put in a performance like he did against Crystal Palace. And I'm not blaming him. There are other people in that team who were crap against Crystal Palace. Yep, I understand. I get it. But also, why not? I feel like this is a game for Earthy. I really do. They would do it against us. Well, they did do it against us. And they would do it against us. They would have no qualms. Jürgen Klopp would have no qualms about putting in their most talented youngster in the team. Well, at the moment, he probably is our most talented youngster. He's a box of tricks, and his debut was cut. Really unfortunately short, wasn't it, with that head injury? He's back now. The protocols have been passed. Concussion protocols have been passed. There's not much I think that would give the team a lift, that would give him a lift, and would give a stadium a lift than that name. Honestly, the stadium would be buzzing. And when that name gets read out, actually they won't do anything because they'll still be at the bars. But when the game starts and they see George Earthy there, there's something. I'm getting excited just thinking about it, even though it won't happen.
Yeah, I actually while I'm not going to pick George Earthy, I agree with everything you've just said. Like I said at the start of the week, I was insisting, let's get some youngsters out there, and he would have been the one behind Lewis Orford. But I'm going just a different player. I've gone Bowen on the right, Antonio up front, Cornet on the left, and Kudus in number 10. And the 2 reasons for that is, A, like you, I think Paqueta deserves to be dropped. It's not one game. You say Crystal Palace, I say Crystal Palace, I say Fulham, I say Leverkusen away, and whatever. I know it's 4 games in a row where I've not been impressed by Lucas Paqueta's performances or his attitude. Wolves away, that was the other one. He scored a pen, but I thought he was poor in open play. I don't think he offered much at all. And I've got severe questions regarding his commitment to West Ham now. I don't like saying stuff like this and, he's got one eye on the door. I don't like it. I rarely say it. But actually, from what I've seen from him at Crystal Palace, it was hard to sit there and not think, is this guy off? Is he decided that's it for him at West Ham and he's down in the tools or whatever? And if that's the case, then leave him out completely. We obviously don't know what goes on in the training ground. For all we know, he's working like a bulldog on the training ground this week. And he deserves his spot side, and I'm sure Moyes will select him. But yeah, I'm not going to apologise for being angry at what I've seen from Paqueta in the last few weeks. And I want to see Kudus in the number 10 role as well. So that's another reason for putting Paqueta on the bench. I want to see Kudus central. Yeah. I want to see him running at Endo. Liverpool will present opportunities to counter-attack. They will present space. I'd imagine Klopp will make a few changes because of fatigue. It's 12:30 on Saturday. And when you said he would play his most talented youngster, there's a chance he will play his most talented youngster against us. There might be one or two of them in that starting 11. Quansah might be at the back next to Van Dijk for this one, for example. So I'd get Kudus in there, Bowen in his best position, Antonio up front, and Kone. Like I'm clutching at straws here because all we've seen is straws. We've had no evidence to play Maxwell Cornet. I have to go back to what he did at Burnley for reasons to play Maxwell Cornet. However, against Crystal Palace, that run and that ball from Calvin Phillips was the best bit of play we had all game. And it's pathetic. It is pathetic. And shame on the rest of them. But that run he made, I thought, look at that. Like, we're screaming out for that sometimes. So I'd put him in. Let's give him a chance. What we've got to lose? Nothing really, quite frankly. Anyway, right, that's it. That's the team Gonzo and I want to see. It's not what we think Moyes will do. That's a different question, but that's the teams we would like to see. We'd like to know the teams you want to see, so get involved in the comments below. And while you're doing that, can we just point you in the direction of Match Bingo? They're the app that's sponsoring this preview, and you can download it via the link in the description below, the pinned comments, or by scanning the QR code that'll be on your screen round about here somewhere. Match Bingo is combining the traditional game that you all know and love with a game that you know and love as well. In football, you get 15 things that you need to occur in a match. There's some simple things such as West Ham to get a throw in, Liverpool to have a shot on target, Liverpool to score a goal, West Ham take multiple kick up. That doesn't happen. You don't get, it's just a joke. But you need 15 things to occur. It pays out 3 times. It pays out for the first line, second line, and the full house. Match Bingo do all the hard work though. When you're watching the game, don't worry about marking off your card. They update the card for you automatically. You don't even need to be watching the game. But if you are, it gives you a little bit of something extra. Also, there's plenty of freebies on there, including bingos. But if you're watching this on Thursday, the darts is on tonight, and you can get a free card for every single darts game. So there's 7 games of darts this evening. You can get a free card for all 7. So if you download the app, sign up for free, and then get a card for free. You don't need to deposit any money in order to obtain these free cards. But the West Ham Liverpool card is £2 per play. So please do gamble responsibly. Gonzo, is it 4 dead rubbers for West Ham? Or do we have to approach it and pray?
No, I don't think they're dead rubbers at all. I think results weren't bad last night. I think, and I'd even put the Liverpool one in there. I was. Yeah, look, my thoughts are primarily. Ordinarily, I wouldn't watch a Merseyside derby and cared who wins. I wouldn't care, but I did last night. What I wanted was, I must be honest, I wanted Liverpool to have a hard time. I wanted them to be knackered. We got the early kickoff. Look, all season, and listen, I would say Jürgen Klopp has reason to feel that the world's against him with those 12:30 kickoffs, right? However, I have no sympathy because West Ham have had a really, really, really tough run, and we're not Liverpool and we're not Man United. And we can't afford to have the squad that they have. But for 3 seasons now, we've had European football, and it's been a killer. You know, our manager keeps a very, very small squad, and it's been hard for us to play Thursday, Sunday, all the rest of it. So yeah, we got a week off, but usually we don't. We have a ridiculous number of games for a squad of our size. So I was looking at it and I was thinking, yeah, okay, good. Liverpool are losing. This is good. They got an early kickoff. Good. And then obviously you start looking at it and absolutely wonderful. Newcastle losing as well, and it was nice that I was going to say they found it as difficult as we did against Crystal Palace. I don't think they found it quite as difficult as we did. But nonetheless, it was good to see that happening as well. There was a point. I looked at that Man United and Sheffield United game and thought, hold on, there's something going to happen here. And so, yeah, I don't think that things are going that badly for us. So I don't think it's dead at all. I also would suggest that this Amorim stuff, I'm not suggesting this why it happened, because I do think it was agent-led. I do think it was done to flush out a bid from Liverpool, which never came. I went for Arne Slot instead. I think that was probably the intention of why it was. Look, somebody leaked in the Portugal end. Somebody got a journalist to go to Portugal and take a picture, right? Okay, so let's get that right. I do think it was done to flush out Liverpool, but what it did do inadvertently is take a lot of the press away from our stinky old performance against Crystal Palace, which meant that there wasn't as much focus on the playing staff and there wasn't as much talk, ironically, or paradoxically, should I say, about David Moyes. The pressure was almost taken off him because even though it was around his job, the story wasn't about him. And it's very quickly morphed into a story of Amorim and Lopetegui and Tim Steidten and David Sullivan. And I think, whilst all this has been happening, our team have had a week on the training ground. So, and results have gone our way. So I don't think they're 4 dead rubbers at all. I think, I'm not, again, like you, I will stop short and say, hey, we're going to qualify for Europe, but there's still something to play for. There absolutely is.
The one thing I want to see on Saturday, well, I say one, there's plenty of things, but one thing I would like to see on Saturday is Jared Bowen made captain for the first time. In the past, if we go back to at the start of the season, I think it was, Jared Bowen said, I'm one of the quieter characters in the dressing room. Jared Bowen himself said, I'm quite quiet. I am not one of the big voices. I'm not one of the big personalities. I'm quite quiet. Well, last week, Jared Bowen said, I'd like to be captain of West Ham one day. And I thought, there we go. That's the attitude I like. And I don't like sort of discussing how good a captain is or not, because we only see them for 90 minutes a week or 180 minutes while we're in European football. And there's a lot more to a captain than that. The pitch is just one part of it. There's Monday to Friday in there. And, when people speak about Mark Noble as a captain, they don't really talk about Mark Noble as a captain on the pitch. It's what he did off it, about how a new player comes over. He's helping them get the kids into school, helping them buy a house. And when Lingard came over, he said he got in the car with Noble and Creswell took his phone. I said, you put that away. You do not take your phone out. We talk, we communicate, and then sweep and shit. All that stuff Mark Noble did, most of it is off the pitch. So Zuma may be brilliant at that, I don't know. So all I can judge is by what I see on the pitch, and I don't like it. I've had enough. I've had enough of this lack of leadership, not just from him, but from everybody else. When we get smashed, he's never in front of the camera discussing it or taking responsibility. It's always James Ward-Prowse that's wheeled out to deal with the media. I don't like stuff like that, because if it was last season, Declan Rice would have been the first person in front of that camera, and before him it would have been Mark Noble that was the first person in front of that camera saying, I'm going to take all the flack here, I'm going to take everything, none of you boys, I'm captain, I'm doing it. I'm not once seen Zuma do it. I don't like it whatsoever. Jared Bowen said, I'd like to be captain. You give him the armband on Saturday and let's see what that does. Let's see if we can get an inspired performance from Bowen and see if it lofts him up a bit more and see what the reaction is from the players as well. I like it. I like it when players are quite backing themselves to do well and have ambition within the football club. And Bowen's got that. Are you confident? I'm getting more positive vibes from you than what I perhaps expected. So while you're talking, I'm going to write down my little score prediction. But are you optimistic or confident for this game?
Well, I'd rather not say now. You're going to write a prediction.
I've already wrote it down.
Have you? All right. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am confident, actually. I am confident. Yeah. Borderline cocky.
Why?
Borderline cocky, actually.
Why are you?
I've looked into the eyes of the beast, and I'm not trembling with fear, quite frankly. And I'm just not impressed with what I've seen. And I was so impressed with Liverpool earlier this season. I thought they were unstoppable. And just in case anyone's in any doubt and you don't watch all of our videos, I do not want Arsenal to win the league. That is the worst choice possible of any club. I'd prefer Tottenham to win the league than Arsenal. So let's get that right. All right, just so as everyone knows that. So it's not that, but I think they're a team this season on the decline. I really do. I don't think Salah. I can't even remember what game. I watched him a game or two ago. I thought he lacked accuracy. I thought he lacked drive. I thought he was selfish. I thought it was a really, really good opportunity for him to square the ball and score. I think possibly even Nunes to score. That didn't do it. But I also looked, and because it was Mo Salah, there wasn't the level of complaint there would have been. Almost anyone else in any other football match you might have seen, his teammates would have been having a go. If it wasn't Mo Salah, if it was whatever, pick your player, whatever player it might have been, the teammates would be screaming at him, saying, why didn't you pass that? Why didn't you square it? But you can't do that because it's Mo Salah. And I feel that's a bit of a hindrance to him as well. You're absolutely right about McAllister, the way he sort of plays early balls, first time balls. Yeah, you're absolutely right to pick him out. Particularly recently, he's played really, really well. And I would, he's someone that's got to be watched. He's someone that's got to be feared. And never look. Darwin Núñez looks like he couldn't hit a donkey's arse with a banjo at the moment. Never, ever underestimate West Ham's ability to make someone that can't score turn into a goal machine. We're absolutely, absolutely capable of doing that. That being said, I think there's been so much limelight on Liverpool for all reasons, for the Merseyside derby, for them slipping out the title race, for them getting kicked out of Europe, for Jürgen Klopp, for Arne Slot going in there now. I think it's been so much on them. And I just think like I said before, I just feel that our press, our media stuff has either been from the media against West Ham fans or concentrating on looking at what's going on with, as I say, Steiten or Amorim or Lopetegui or Sullivan or whatever. I just think that's probably been quite a quiet training ground this week. And I think the team have got a chance because of, and I wonder, and I do think I always like the prospect that some people just like to prove people wrong. And I think the crowd could well be very loud actually on Saturday. And I think there might be an instance where everybody, both the players and David Moyes, want to prove everybody wrong, and we go out with a bigger spring in our steps. And I think there'll be determination there. I'm not sure Liverpool can turn up with belief because I'm not sure how they can look at it and believe that they're going to win the league title. I think Man City got to play before that. That's going to be interesting. That will play some part in their mindset, but they can't enjoy looking at Arsenal at the moment because that was quite an impressive performance that Arsenal put on against Chelsea. That's given me hope as well because obviously we're going to play Chelsea. So yeah, I'm pretty buoyant, mate. Pretty buoyant.
I'm liking it. Well, sorry everyone, I'm going to drag it down a little bit, but I think while Liverpool are a tired beast, I do think they're also a bit of a wounded animal, and I don't know. I just feel them, and also I can't get over how terrible we were against Crystal Palace. I'm hoping the fact that we've had a week on the training ground to just rejuvenate. Kudus with a rest will hopefully be sort of back to peak Mohamed Kudus or something. When we did what we'd like to see, I think what we will see is Bowen, Paqueta and Kudus and Antonio. I'm hoping Moyes goes with it. If they're all available, what I don't want to see, by the way, is Ward-Prowse in the number 10 and then one of the other ones left out and Paqueta's playing, because I think that's what he will possibly go for. Maybe it'd be Antonio that's on the bench and then he's got Bowen up front again or something. I'd imagine that's what Moyes would do. But I can't, whilst Liverpool got beat up by Everton and Everton have basically given David Moyes a blueprint on how to beat Liverpool and how awful they looked at defending set pieces at the back post, should really have us forming our right. Again, brilliant. This is what we need. Thank you very much, Sean Dyche. But we've been crap. We were crap against Crystal Palace. We were crap against Fulham. We were good for 45 minutes against Bayer Leverkusen. But after that 45 minutes of being impressive, insert whatever you think went wrong. Either we were knackered or Moyes got them to sit back or Xabi Alonso got one up on David Moyes. Whatever reason you think was the reason that we failed to kick on in the second half, it's not good. So I'm sort of looking forward to this one. Pressure's off us a little bit. And I think there's always a bit of an incentive for teams to give a club chasing the title a bloody nose, like what Everton just did to Liverpool. And when we play Man City in the last game of the season, I think when you go there, the prospect of beating them and maybe stopping them winning the title is quite a big motivation for a professional player. Unless you're Lucas Paqueta, you might prefer that Man City do go on and win the title on that day. However, for this one, yeah, I'm not feeling it, Gonzo. So can I get any final words from yourself and your score prediction, please? Although I've got it here.
Yeah, of course, you already know it. What is really key here is it's really important. David Moyes is on borrowed time. He's in the last chance saloon. I mean, he really is. This is it. This is it for him. Honestly, he is hanging on to the life raft of his fingertips here, and he needs to understand that. He just needs to look and just see, forget all these complicated statistics and Opta stats and expected goals and all that crap. West Ham have got one of the worst defences in the whole of English football. It's truly terrible. He can't defend. If he goes out against Liverpool and he just tries to defend and he tries to sit back and it doesn't work, he'll deserve everything he gets, because it means even the most raw, obvious data, he can't even read it. I would suggest he won't even fit for purpose if he can't even read that most obvious stuff. What we can do is attack. If he gets this wrong, what can you do? What can you do? You just can't keep teaching old dog new tricks if that's the case. However, I think it's so obvious. I think he is going to attack. I think he is going to attack Liverpool. And I think he's going to send them out. I think they're going to have points to prove. And I think Liverpool are a wounded animal, but I don't think they're a wounded animal that's going to be taken to the vets and come back all fresh. I think they're a wounded animal with a broken leg, quite frankly. And I don't even think they're going to be able to cock that leg and piddle on the London Stadium. So I think we're going to beat them 3-1.
Oh, I said 2-1. I said 2-1. I thought you'd be going for a West Ham win voting score. I'm going to say 2-1 Liverpool. However, I do think Moyes will attack them. I don't think at the London Stadium, Moyes away from home against these clubs, not good. Moyes at home against these clubs, generally we tend to give them a good game. We do all right against the likes of Liverpool, Man United, and whatever at our place. So maybe not so much Arsenal, but the rest of them would do all right against at the London Stadium. So I'm actually looking forward to the game. I think we will give them a game. I don't think there'll be much in it. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool, but that's just because of how bad we've been recently. I can't quite convince myself we're just going to turn it around just like that. But I'm hoping a week on the training ground, a rest, a couple of days off, might actually do the world of good to our players. But anyway, that's it from myself and Gonzo. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Helps out the video, helps out the channel, makes us very happy. Subscribe new to Hammers Chat. And also, if you don't mind, please do check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Hammers Chat, where we upload more videos and you can get other benefits as well as store discount online and entry into our prediction competition, ticket giveaways, etc., etc. Plenty of stuff going on there. Do give it a little look. Myself and Gonzo, catch up with you in a bit.